All right, Rod. Here is I've been doing this investigative reporting stuff for 35 years, and I'm now over here at Gephardt Approved looking over businesses to see if I think they're honest and if I want to recommend them. And you can find all those businesses at GephardtApproved.com. But a complaint that I continue to hear over and over and over again almost daily is somebody went and they bought a used car, and they bought the car as is, and as soon as they drove it off the lot practically, something went wrong with it. The car won't run anymore. The engine quit. The transmission fell out. Some horrible thing happened. Or, the automatic windows don't work, or one of a bunch of different things, and people are wanting to know what they can do about it. Something I hear about all the time. You know who else hears about this all the time? The people down at the Motor Vehicle Enforcement Division. Among other things that they do at the Utah Motor Vehicle Enforcement Division is they keep an eye on dealers to make sure they're obeying the law. And the assistant director of the Motor Vehicle Enforcement Division, or MVED as it's called, is Curtis Stoddard. Curtis, welcome to the program this afternoon.
Thank you.
Do you hear about these customers? Do they call your office once in a while and they bought a car as is and something went wrong and now they're trying to figure out what to do?
That's one of the things that we get probably on a daily basis or at least a weekly basis.
Yes.
Where
so
that's the case.
All right, so what do you tell people? I paid $10,000 for this used car, and I bought it as is, and the thing doesn't run anymore. I drove it, 20 miles, and it won't run. What are you able to tell people?
That's probably the hardest part of my job is to, when they tell me those things, especially with used vehicles, they get it off the lot, something happens, and they're saying, well, I bought this car and I thought this is what I was getting, when indeed they needed to actually investigate what they were purchasing. And so it's hard for our office because really there isn't much we can do for them.
Why?
Because of that as is. And when you purchase as is, they're basically telling you that whatever you get, it's yours.
As is. It's as simple as that. 2 words, 4 total letters, as is. So if the engine falls apart, it doesn't make any difference how much money you paid for this thing, and it doesn't matter when it quit. You purchased it as is.
Correct. And that's one of the things that we try to tell them is, be an educated purchaser. Before you actually sign the dotted line, know what you're getting. Get in the car, turn it on, see if it can drive, take it on a test drive, check the windows, see if they do roll down, look at the tires, make sure the brakes don't squeak, because once you get that and it is as is, it's difficult. There are a few things, that they can try to do. They can get a hold of the manager of the dealership. If they're truly want the customer's business, they're going to work with the customers and do what they can. But again, that it goes back to that word is they're selling it to you as is. So if something's broken.
Yeah, and then people will say things, wait a minute, don't I have a 3-day right to take this car back?
And that is not correct unless the dealership themselves writes that on the contract that they're allowing you to do that. And there are some dealerships in our state that have that reputation. Well, they'll say, we will do that. But make sure as the consumer that if that's what you want, if you want 3 days, make them put it in the contract that they're going to give you 3 days.
Okay. Now, are there any circumstances when I buy an as-is car and I pay the money and I sign the contract, are there any circumstances where I might get out of that deal if the car fails?
There's really only one reason that a dealer, well, there's 2. One, that the dealer couldn't find you financing within the terms that they put on the contract. That would be one reason that if they can't do that, they have to allow you to either return the vehicle and get your money back, or, you say you want to find your own, or that they cannot deliver a title.
What do you mean by that?
So if dealers usually aren't in possession of the title, and a lot of that cases are, when you get a loan on a car, the bank is the holder, and so they hold the title. So the dealerships themselves are waiting for that title to get there. And then on occasion, because of somebody not paying off a lien or other reasons, it's difficult to get that title within a time frame.
What is that time frame? Yeah.
Utah state law requires that if a temporary permit is put on the vehicle, so the dealer gives you a temp to drive,
Yep.
it's 45 days. So if they failed to do it within that 45-day time frame, then you could return the vehicle.
All right. And that's about it. All right. Now, lemon law is more of a federal statute, but people talk about the lemon law, and that, first of all, is only good for a brand new car, right?
It is. There is actually Utah law under that, but it falls under consumer protection.
Okay. So Utah State Division of Consumer Protection. Okay.
Correct. And then the federal law, which also covers them. But again, that doesn't go back to this vehicle that we're talking about that's as is.
No.
That's on a new vehicle only.
And as is, and by the way, that 3-day right of rescission, I think people misunderstand so often. 3 days is only if a salesperson comes to your door and you make a deal at the door. That's the only day, 3-day right of rescission. There is no such thing when it comes to buying and selling cars.
Yeah, that's correct. And It's actually against the law for a dealer to come to your door and sell it. They have to sell from their principal place of business. So in this case, it wouldn't fit.
Curtis Stoddard, you're the Assistant Director of the Motor Vehicle Enforcement Division for the state of Utah. I need to thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
All right, now, there you go, Rod. So as is means, that's right, as is.